Hey, everybody. Hello, hello. Oh, gosh, can y'all see me? I have not been live in so long. I don't even know how to act. I don't know what to do. I barely knew how to set up the camera correctly. I'm over here on Struggle Street. But woo, child, we got some news today. We got some news. Breaking news today. I kept saying I was going to start doing lives again and all of the things, but I haven't started doing the lives just yet. But because of the breaking news, I did feel like, let me just go ahead and hop on because I wasn't going to have time to pre-record something and then go back and edit it and do all of the things, whatever. So if you clicked on this, you know that the Supreme Court of the United States of America, the Supreme Court that reigns supreme, they tell every other court what they could or couldn't do, the rulings that they could or couldn't make. These 9 people come together with all the years of their experience, and they say what you as an American citizen can or cannot do based upon the Constitution that was written hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years ago. So, all of that said, today it came down to a 6-3 decision that we will be paying back the student loan debt that Joe Biden, and for years and years and years and years and years, decades even, of the Democratic Party waving this banner and ushering in and promising and fake promising and, you know, all the smoke and mirroring of student loan forgiveness, dangling this carrot. Gotta be quicker than that. Yeah, almost, right? Promising that they were going to do student loan forgiveness. The Supreme Court was like, not today, you won't. So I want to talk real quick. What happened? How did we get here? And what does this mean about you purchasing a home? Because I talk about home loans. So, hey, everybody, as y'all come on in, do me a favor, please, 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 because I'm really making a push for monetization at this point. I feel like I'm refreshed. I'm renewed. You know, I have been putting up other content that's been pre-recorded. My editing skills starting to get a little bit better, and I would really appreciate the support. So if you don't mind, even if you don't watch this for long, just like it, please, 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 please. And if you're new here, y'all, subscribe. I am the Mortgage Boss here on social media, on all my media platforms, Instagram and YouTube. I be trying to TikTok a little bit, but my TikToking don't talk because nobody's really checking for me over there. But my channel is dedicated to, really, I'm trying to hone in on exactly who is dedicated to. I say it's for home buyers, but really it's more first-time home buyers as well as loan officers in their 0 to 3 years of their career. So if you want to be a loan officer, oh, look at this collar. So if you would like to be a loan officer, or if you're in the first 3 years of being a loan officer, please subscribe to learn more about my life as a loan officer. Y'all, today they ruled that we'll be paying back our student loans. So 3 years ago, back in 2020, we had COVID. It paralyzed the nation, and they said, oh, well, nobody needs to pay any bills. So we stopped paying the mortgage. We stopped paying our credit cards. If you didn't have it, just call and be like, I ain't got it. And they was like, okay. But student loans was something that was near and dear to everybody's heart. A lot of people that have gone to college in the last 30, 35 years, I'm 40 years old, so 30, 35 years, that, you know, have been going to college, and as African Americans have been accepted to college at a higher rate than ever before. They removed monetary barriers and started allowing us to borrow money from the federal government. You could always get loans from the bank, but you know, you kind of hit you to qualify, and they have completely separate rules. So if you're watching this and you have, you know, a private loan, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the people with federal student loans. The student loan that they didn't check your credit. You could have signed up for it at 18 years old, not knowing nothing about a credit score, not knowing anything about paying it back, all of the things. And if you know, like I know, because I went to A&T, you got the pleasure of standing in line for that refund check. Okay. Well, one thing about life is you either going to pay on the front end or pay on the back end or whatever it is that you do. But if you pay on the back end, you going to pay with interest. Okay. Catch that too. So listen. So 3 years ago, the federal government was like, no, wait, we got to stop. Like, stop everything. Let's give everybody a chance to like regroup. They might be on their deathbed. We don't know what the circumstances are. Let's do everything that we can to make sure that we're helping the American people. Great. We're helping the American people stop the student loans. Praise God, whom all blessings flow. So they decided, well, after 2 years, the sitting president, because we've had a change in presidents in all of this time. The Democratic Party came in. Joe Biden was elected. Joe Biden was like, well, you know what? I've been saying, and we've been saying that we're going to forgive these student loans for a long time. And you know what? I think I need to make a splash in the news today. So, hey, everybody, we're going to forgive up to $20,000 of student loan debt for federal borrowers, people that, as I said before, not private loans, but government issued loans. And you could get $10,000 forgiven and up to $20,000 if you got, I think, a Pell Grant or something like that. Well, there were 6 states that was like, no, you can't do that. That's unconstitutional. You're not allowed to do that. If you do that, we're going to take you to court. And they did. And they went to court a couple times. And the first time they was like, y'all, the states, this ain't your business. Don't worry about it. This ain't you. But then another court was like, nope. On this round, it was like, you know what? You might be onto something. And so it's worked this way all the way up to the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court decided today in a 6-3 ruling that it is, in fact, unconstitutional for us to have those $20,000 of student loans forgiven. So that's how we got here. And y'all, I really did not. I didn't plan on doing this. So forgive my hair. I probably could have razzle dazzled it a little bit more. But anyway, so who is going to be impacted by this? According to something that I read, it said 1 in 8 Americans will start to pay their student loans back in September. So it was kind of funny to me. We're getting ready to go into a holiday weekend, and the Supreme Court was like, y'all, let's wrap this up. Let's go. So we can go on vacation, we can go on break, and we're gonna just leave them twisted in the wind. And so the Supreme Court made their decision. And so the student loan debts for everybody all across America, that window of time, the forbearance period, is officially going to end. Not only is it going to end, it means that 100% of the people that have student loans will be repaying something back. So if you are like some of my friends, it was like, well, I got the money. I only owe like another $8,000 or whatever it is. And they've been holding on to it. At this point, they just, y'all go ahead, write the check. It's over. Write your checks. If you are not in that position, like I'm not in that position, I have an ungodly amount of student loan debt. My repayment plan is, and this is a running joke, so if you're new here, don't be in my comments talk about I'm being fiscally irresponsible. I'm a die. That's my plan. So anyway, so the student loan forgiveness plan that has been in place, we don't know how that's going to be impacted by this decision, because we know there's always a trickle down effect. One decision will cause you to be like, well, what about this thing over here? So I used to be a teacher, and when I was teaching 10 years ago, there was a promise that if you were a government worker, so like you were some sort of what's the word I'm looking for? What is it called? Like if you're a nurse or a teacher, if you were like a service work, yeah, what is the word I'm looking for? You know what I'm talking about. But if you were like a social worker or whatever, you would be able to make $120 payments toward your student loan debt, and it was going to be forgiven at the end of the 120 payments under, any type of repayment plan that you had. Well, now people are like, well, is that not going to be allowed either? What does that do? Where does that put those people? As of right now, we don't know. We don't know. Could it be a problem? Probably. I don't know. It's the government. I talk about loans and finances. I don't really get into the politics. However, I am very politically active. But that's another comment for a little bit later on. So we don't know what's going to happen with those people, those student loans. So if you were not one of those employees or, service-based type workers, what is the word I'm looking for? Public service worker. Jesus Christ. If you were not a public service employee, excuse me, then, you were with the rest of us. They just said, hey, if you're on an income-based repayment plan, a lot of people don't realize this. After 20 or 25 years, they just figured we ain't going to get the money back. We just going to move on with life. But the question was that, again, a lot of people don't realize this. What does that mean? Because the way that the law is currently written, you will pay taxes on that debt that gets forgiven, right? So that's after, like I said, 20, 25 years, depending on what type of repayment and how much debt you have. So they haven't crossed that bridge either. So it's a lot of people that are like, well, how does this impact my money? How does this impact my student loans? What does this mean for my forgiveness? We just know for a fact that you will still need to pay back that extra $10,000 or that extra $20,000, which unfortunately does not wipe out the debt for anybody that is currently repaying money. The other thing about the student loan debts as it pertains to purchasing a home. Now, this is the part that was my lead in to this point right here. Whenever you apply for a home loan, you are going to have your student loans debts included in your debt to income ratio for us to determine how much money we will be able to lend to you. When I get on the phone with people, a lot of times they're like, hey, Joy, my student loans, they on pause, they on break. I don't have a payment. We've always included some sort of payment because the guidelines say so. And so I want to share the guidelines with you. I hope it works. Y'all, I ain't done this in a month, so forgive me if it doesn't. Oh, it popped right up. Perfect. So I subscribe to a service called Mortgage Currency, and they present the guidelines to us very clearly, very concisely, and it allows us to quickly pull up guidelines if we have questions. You don't have to go through thousands and thousands of pages. So as you can see here, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, FHA, VA, and USDA all have their own formulas for who and how we calculate your student loan repayment. So, because we already have a formula that we use, we've always used it, and we will always use that repayment plan. All right. As of now, and I won't go into which agency does what, but I just wanted you to know that it's already prescriptive. We've already been using it. Depending on whatever type of loan you're getting, you very well may have a $0 payment. I would strongly suggest to anyone that is watching this, if you do not have an income-driven repayment plan, you need to get on one. If you are making $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a year, your payment is probably going to be next to nothing. And you very well may qualify for a $0 payment. If for some reason you have to make a payment, it's gonna be probably next to nothing. But if for whatever reason you do not go that route and you kind of kick the can down the road and you say, well, I'm on deferment, I'm forbearance, we're gonna make up a payment. And the payment that we make up for FHA and conventional is going to be either 5% of your outstanding student loan debt or 1% of your outstanding student loan debt. I'm closing a loan today for a young lady, and that is where she is. She is going to, I had to calculate a 0.5% of her outstanding $70,000 of student loan debt. No problem. It worked out. But if for whatever reason we would have had to go, let's say Fannie Mae or some other route for whatever reason, we might have had to count 1% of her debt. And it's like I said, I don't want to get into the weeds of how it works, but it could be either, like I said, a 0.5% or 1%, depending on your current repayment status. Because we've always done this for the entire 36, well, no, I'm lying. For most of the 36 months, we've used this formula to create a payment for you and say, this is how much house you can buy. For the VA, the way that we create a payment is far more relaxed. We'll use 5% of your outstanding loan balance and divide by 12. So just pretend you owe $100,000 in student loans and you are a veteran. We'll take 5%, which is $5,000, and we'll divide by 12. $416 a month go towards your debt. That's it. But again, I would strongly encourage you, as someone that is wanting to purchase a home, to get on some sort of income-driven plan immediately. Because in 60 days, somebody's paying something back. Everybody is paying something back. And that's not going to make a major shift in any way, shape, or form toward what you can and cannot qualify for. There was a brief period in time when we thought this was really going to happen, that they issued guidelines to us as to how we were going to handle, people that were eligible, that had filed for that $10,000 or $20,000 repayment. Forgiveness. At this point, we saw it wasn't going to happen, so we pulled back on that and we continue to make those calculations. If you get on an income-driven repayment plan, it is almost always going to fall in your favor rather than allowing us to calculate a 0.5% or 1% of your outstanding balance as a debt. So if you want to make sure that you are maximizing however much it is that you want to qualify for, I would strongly recommend that you get on the phone with the people and you get a payment plan in place. Once you have that letter, the payment plan is going to say, hey, this is an income-driven payment plan. This is the payment. This is when it starts. This is when it ends. That's all you need. You'll fill out your application. You'll upload it. And we're going to move on. It won't be a lot of back and forth. So at this point, like I said, that's the advice that I have for you. The fallout of this is negligible in terms of you purchasing a home. But to look at the whole picture, the fallout to just a regular American citizen just going about their life, making their monthly mortgage payments, credit card payments, student, whatever other payments, paying for vacations, going out to eat, going shopping, living their best life. You got to make a payment of something. It's been $0. And we do know statistically that Americans are overextended in debt, in credit card debt. And this is just going to add to that. Which, while it doesn't have implications per se on you getting a house, it does have negative implications on you living day to day, week to week, month to month. Think about it. Can you really afford another $200 to come out your check or out of your house? If you have bought a bunch of stuff on credit, if you already are like, side gig over here, side gig over there, and you completely forgot about the student loans, because I know I did. I forgot about the student loans. I ain't thought nothing about them loans. I told y'all already, my payment plan is death. That's my forgiveness plan. So, y'all, that's gonna be kind of where the rubber meets the road. Is a lot of people that haven't thought about these payments. What we gonna do? I've been out of college. I graduated from A&T in 2005, and I graduated grad school in 2011. It's very easy to call and be like, I ain't got it. And they be like, okay. Based on this ruling, I don't know if that's going to slide into that, flexible forgiveness attitude of, oh, don't worry, baby, don't worry. Let's just put a pause on it for 6 months. Oh, let's just pause it for another 90 days. And then you be 6 years later, it's like, ooh, I ain't made a payment. Let me see how long I can keep this at. Get on a repayment plan, an income-driven repayment plan. I do know that the Biden administration has decreased what that amount can be. It used to be 15% of your discretionary income. Now, if you're on income-driven repayment plan, I believe it is down to only 10% of your discretionary income. So if you were on a student loan income-driven repayment plan prior to COVID, you probably make more money now. But even if you make more money now, you haven't had an increase in the balance. And you now probably will either have the same payment as before, regardless of you making more money, or your payment might be a little bit less. Because like I said, the formula that they come up with for the income-driven repayments is going to be limited more now than it was before. So that is a positive takeaway from this. But thank y'all so much. I appreciate y'all dealing with me for the last 20 minutes. But these student loans, they got to be paid back. I know y'all don't pay them back. I don't pay them back. But in terms of what it means for you purchasing a home, if you could buy before, you could buy now. No big deal. Get on a repayment plan if you're not on one already. And that's what we're going to do. You're going to buy a house. This means absolutely nothing. Oh, hey, Paul. Let's see what we got here. Paul, thank you so much. I hope you hit the like button because I really need the engagement. Please. Thanks. Okay, Paul says, I feel like they really need some come to Jesus. Baby, come on now. I like where this comment is going. I feel like they really need some come to Jesus laws in place, more tightly regulating a TILA law for a student. Yes, I agree. I totally got hosed on graduated repayment, and when I graduated, because I was clueless. I agree with you wholeheartedly, 100%. This is the funny part. I'm glad you said that. So in mortgage lending, there is very specific repayment structures that are not allowed. One of the things that we don't do in standard lending practices is allow for a balloon payment. And the other thing that we don't generally allow for standard repayments, like 30-year, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, VA, FHA, USDA. If you go and you get one of them out the box non-QMs, I'm not talking about you. is negative amortizing loans. So back in the day, like the early 2000s, they were like, oh, okay, what you want your payment to be? Let's pick a payment. And so what would happen is, if your principal interest payment was $1,000 a month and you decided, well, okay, they calculated and made it so you only had to pay like $700 a month back, right? That other $300, they was adding on to it. So rather than you paying the loan down, the increase in the loan would increase. And that's what's happened with student loans. My personal beef with student loans is this. One, I feel like what started out, I think my student loan debt started out like 3%, and then I went to graduate school, and so then I got whatever that interest rate was. Federal loans cannot be refinanced. It is what it is. You are where you are, period. On top of that, while they're like, yeah, you could get on an income-driven repayment, that means that the payment that you are paying on the income-driven repayment plan is less than what it would take to pay the loan off. So what happens? You go from owing $40,000, $60,000, $80,000 to like, why owe y'all $170,000? I didn't learn no more. I didn't go to a different school. You now have ballooned what the loan amount actually is. And so I think that is the battle that consumers have with paying student loans. If you would give me the loan, one, it's government money. Clearly, like, stop playing with me. You don't have to charge me interest if you don't want to. That's a big thing. And the other thing is, I think that people, I can't speak for everybody, but I can definitely speak for myself, and I think other people would share this opinion. If they would just say, pay back what you borrowed, okay, I borrowed the money. I don't have a problem with giving it back. I just struggle with the idea that the amount has grown so much, it's now insurmountable. And I've been out of college for almost 20 years. I can't begin to imagine how much those new graduates have to carry in debt, for the remainder of their lives. And something's going to have to happen. Like, the system is going to break. It has to. So I don't know how long they're going to be able to keep this up, but I wholeheartedly agree with this statement. They need to have something to say, you know what, we got to talk to these kids. Now, I did sit in like a little seminar. I think it lasted for like 30 minutes right before graduation. And I mean, whatever, how does this impact people that are defaulted on student loans? If you have defaulted on student loans, you can't get a home loan. You have to wait until you've come out of default. And I think that process is about 9 months. Praise God, I've not had to ever experience having a default, but I have seen people that have. A lot of people don't realize, back in the day, they would just go, you'd be able to file bankruptcy and the student loans would be gone. They changed the laws. They said, oh, no, you can't do that. So you have the debt. So then it became, well, if you fall into default and you want to buy a house, you still gonna have to pay the money back, because we can see your loans from the 90s. There's a report that we'll be able to see. So no, I appreciate this comment. You are 1,000% right. They absolutely need to do something, have some sort of like, y'all, let's be fair with the people. Let them have a life and have some level of responsibility of paying it back. Because the reality is, we borrowed the money, pay the money back. But I think that there is a reasonable ask, or should be some sort of reasonable request, or some middle of the road agreement for that repayment. At least, okay, forgive 100% of the interest. You don't have to forgive all of the student loans. Forgive everybody in America's 100% of their interest and say, okay, he paid money back. That's the solution, at least in my opinion. But guys, you can buy a house. Like I said, nothing's changed. Please, please, please get on some sort of income-based payment and you'll be fine. But thank you all for joining me. I appreciate your time. If you are new here, I'm very relaxed. I laugh. I have a good time. I'm gonna talk to you like I'm your auntie, your mama, your sister. I'm gonna give you some real advice. This channel is not going to um give you fairy tales and lies about getting a home loan. You should subscribe to this channel because you want to buy a house, not because you want your ego to feel good or because you want somebody to lie to you, because that's not going to happen. If you're watching this channel because you want to purchase a home, I'm going to tell you how to buy a loan. Like I'm telling you now, pay your student loans. I'm telling you right now, go get on an income-driven repayment plan, pay your student loans. Okay. Get out of default. If you want to buy a house, pay the loans. Okay. Thank you all. I'm gonna start going live. I think do Q&As. I think I'm gonna go on Tuesday and pray about it. So if you see it, subscribe. If you see it, post in my community tab that I'll be going live. It's called Mortgage Boss Talk Tuesday. I just be talking about whatever issue I pick off the news, informing you about it, filling in the gaps, giving a little bit of my opinion, and doing a Q&A. So guys, thank you so much. This was fun to me anyway. So go buy a house. All of my information will be, I don't know, somewhere on the page. Y'all have a great Friday and enjoy your 4th. Go turn up.